What if getting in the right room can change your whole entire career, right? And I'm sure you guys are gonna love this because today's guest, Jared, is gonna be talking exactly about it. I used to get his name wrong all the time. I would say Dr. but he corrected me recently as it's Dr. J. Uh, he has spent, more than 10 years working in product partnerships, business development, and all of that exciting stuff. But I don't even think I could do justice to all of it. So I'm gonna invite him on stage to tell you a little bit more. Welcome to the stream.
Hey, Joanna, I appreciate you for having me. Let me know if the fan noise is like you can hear it in the background. But what's up, everybody? My name is Jared Alberton. I've been in the tech space since 2006, so 20 years in the tech space. I started my career off at IBM as an enterprise software sales executive and worked there for about 4 years. The rest of my career was working with pre-seed, seed, or Series A startups, helping them go from infancy to IPO acquisition. And then organically, I became kind of a thought leader in the career space from an app called Clubhouse during the pandemic, where we put 30, 40 recruiters on stage and helped hundreds of people get jobs in tech, then started working with Afro Tech and started doing a podcast called Big Tech Energy and all these things. But fast forward to today, what I'm really excited about is just talking about the power of relationships, the power of connection, the power of getting in front of decision makers. Because one of my favorite phrases, it comes from this Netflix documentary called The Black Godfather. And one of the phrases he has is, I don't have problems, I have friends. And that's just a really, really real statement. If you quit your job, but you have friends that are recruiters or hiring managers or executives, you don't really have the problem of finding a job. If you try to start a company and you have friends that are VCs, angels, family offices, high net worth individuals, accredited investors, you don't have a problem of fundraising. So really just strategically making sure your network supports you. It's an insurance policy, but how you do that is by leading with value. And you just making sure you're always figuring out ways for people to win, because people, always look out for people they know, trust, and like. So just different strategies around that. And then just talking a little bit about how Big Stage Energy can support that.
Yeah, that's amazing. And you guys sign up for one, but you get two for the price of one. And I'm about to bring Ty to the stage. And they're gonna talk about a lot of interesting stuff. Welcome to the stream, Ty.
Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, it's so great to have you both here. So we're just gonna like keep the conversation like very conversational, if that makes sense. But I want to talk about, first of all, like what brings you two together, but also I want to focus also on your career a little bit, Jared, because I think there's a lot of value that people can get from both, and I think it's kind of like a story that comes together and tells, a really interesting and exciting story. So, first of all, can you talk me through a little bit about how your career in tech started?
Yeah, so I have a non-traditional tech route, which I think is why a lot of people kind of resonated with it. So I did sales internships during college, and I basically paid my way through college doing sales internships. Met IBM at a career expo, and they told me about how software sales is a really, really in-demand opportunity, where you work with executives on their business problems or their business goals, and you figure out how your software can help them get there. You compete against other software solutions. You compete against them not doing anything, and you're really more of a business consultant than anything. But then you're using the technology to solve the problem. So yeah, different path, but software sales can make a ton of money. I have friends that have made seven figures. I've had some really good years as well. Base salary can be anywhere from 120 to 150 once you get to that enterprise level. And yeah, did about $40 million in sales over my career, and allowed me to travel the world, work at conferences. And it's the same kind of philosophy that we have in terms of building your network for your career or for your, startup goals or whatever. It's just really understanding like what can I do personally to get you to the next level, whether it's for your career, whether it's for your company. As a human being, like, what is it that we could do to get you to the next level, and being very honest whether we can or can't, which I think is what made me different than a lot of other people in the sales spaces. I didn't have desperation for a deal, and I wouldn't just say anything or do anything for a deal. I really just spent my time with the people that in the companies where our solution really aligned, and I knew we could under promise, over deliver, so that they were renewing, they were growing, they were referring. And I took that same philosophy towards, what we're doing with Big Stage Energy, and how I've been working with conferences, podcasters, founders, and people looking to get their careers to a different place. That's exactly how I work with them. Ask open-ended questions, understand, can I help them or can I not? If I can, great. Here's how I can help. If I can't, I'll introduce them to somebody like Ty, who can do everything.
So one final question that I'd ask you before we kind of like go over the time. If you could just have one piece of advice, like super basic, right? How can someone become or start a career like yours in 2025?
How to start a career like mine in 2025. Honestly, like, I would, and I know this is my honest opinion, like, you have to get in front of people that make decisions. Not only, even if you're not ready to get in front of a decision maker, I would ask number one, use ChatGPT to do research on the different types of tech roles that match your skill set. So, like, based off everything you know about my career, my LinkedIn, my background, what are some of the easiest, cleanest ways into that tech role? Because those are the type of questions I would answer. I just push them to AI. Like, AI's got a better answer than me. They're going to give you a whole list with details, etc. From there, I would really research those roles and say, like, what am I actually passionate about? Like, what's really interesting? Not what I want to make money on or what looks good, but like, what would be really interesting? And then from there, go to conferences where people that make decisions about that role, and ask them, like, if you had a piece of advice for me, what certifications should I do? What kind of training is important? Like, what do you look for in a candidate, even before you start applying, so you can start implementing some of those prerequisites. So by the time that you do have an opportunity, you have all the prerequisites. You can go back to that individual or individuals that will be in the room at these events and say, hey, I did research on your organization. I'm a really good fit. I've done all these prerequisites. And I would like to, talk to the hiring manager. Are you the person responsible for the role, or somebody else? And you will come off way more prepared than a lot of people that just roam around these expos being like, hey, do you have a job? No, like, you go in there saying, hey, I see this project management role. I just did my PMP. I've, researched Oracle's, project management guide, and I think I'm a perfect fit for Oracle. That's how I would go about it, because with AI resumes, with auto apply, with DI being slashed in terms of us having that type of, access that we had before, all those things are really making it hard. There's a lot of empty roles online. So I would say, do not depend on your resume, your LinkedIn, or being online. Get at some event where decision makers are and talk to them, get mentored by them. And then they might be like, hey, there's a role that's not even posted yet, but I really love your attitude. I love your energy. And that's just something that you can't get when you're online.
That is such great advice. Especially, I like that beginning part, because I think that's where most people get it wrong. It's like, they hear about cybersecurity here, they hear about this other thing there, but they're not really trying to figure out what's best for me. Because it's like, I heard one person say something one time. It's like, they both work in cybersecurity with a coworker, and it's like, whenever a problem comes up, this person thinks about the most twisted answers. Like, what if they do this? What if they do that? What if they take this route? What if they, and it's like, you already know that person was going to succeed in that role regardless. Like, the skill was just an addition because they already had that curious mind and almost like an adversarial mindset to win. But coming back to, like, why Big Stage Energy? So there's a question for both of you, and you can go in whichever order. Why is this? I think you kind of like touched on it a little bit, but why do you need something like Big Stage Energy right now?
Ty, I'll let you go first.
Oh, your audio.
Your audio is
Uh,
good. Okay.
I think it might be double muted somehow. Ty?
Ty, now we can't hear
Oh,
you.
we still can hear you.
Um,
While you're fixing that, Ty, just a quick shout out to Sam. Says exactly, Juwan, nice to see you after meeting and interviewing with you at Afrotech. Yeah, great to see you as well, Sam. And Tech Back Trey, Popcorn. Yeah, it's gonna be a movie for sure.
yes.
Okay, Ty, we're ready.
Ty, you got it?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah,
Okay,
we can hear you,
perfect.
Ty.
Yeah, sorry about that. We're live, so as you can see, so people, it's not pre-recorded here. But anyways, great question, and thank you for having us on here. And just big shout out to everyone listening and watching. We really appreciate you all, and shout out to everyone that has joined the community so far. But yeah, why Big Stage Energy right now? There's plenty of reasons. I would say, one, it's being like very apparent that when it comes to like just opportunities out there, and this is whether we're talking about jobs, whether we're talking about investment opportunities, that who is super important. There's just so much noise out there when it comes to just digital outreach because of AI has allowed people to really be able to mass message anyone. I mean, you can make an agent that just sends mass emails to various different people. So if me, for example, as a founder, when I go through my inbox, I see hundreds of emails sometimes on a given day, sometimes even more than that. I don't have time to go through all of those, but I do have time to talk to a friend. And if a friend says, hey, you need to talk to this person because this person is a great person to talk to about this or that, I'm going to take that friend's recommendation before going through 200 plus emails that I get in my inbox. And that's how it is for a lot of people. If you look at how it was, 15 years ago, where people would pick up a cold call because you never know who it might be. It could be a friend or family, someone changed their number. Nowadays, a lot of people don't pick up cold calls like they used to. We check our cell phones. We look to see, is that someone that we know? Is that someone that is in our contacts? And if it's not, a lot of people let those things go to voicemail. So Big Stage Energy allows you to get in the rooms in conferences where you can actually meet people face to face, get those in-person relationships. So now when you actually need something in your life and your career, whether it's an investor, whether it's a job opportunity, a referral, whether it's just someone to just build something with, build a company with, you have those in-person connections. And it hits home for me personally because, I had a great tech career and I was, going off in the corporate world, but prior to 2022, before going to my first conference, which was Afrotech 2022, nobody knew who I was other than my 10 coworkers that I had. So by going to conferences, I mean, I was now able to now say that I know thousands and thousands of people that have all greatly impacted my life.
Yeah, Jared, you next.
Yeah, and just to add to that, I think right now, like I mentioned before, online, it's really hard to break through the noise. Ty kind of, described that. And so when it comes to Big Stage Energy, what it is we have access to about 100 plus conferences that we've worked with over the years because we've helped them get sponsors, we've helped them get speakers, community partners. I have a pretty engaged audience on social media. And so I've been able to help sell tickets. And so we built those relationships. And so we are able to give free tickets to not only conferences that are focused on, the African-American or the diaspora, but like also the, just more multicultural conferences as well. And so we drop free tickets every Tuesday. But more importantly, we're bringing in recruiters, we're bringing in pitch competition judges, we're bringing in influencers and podcasters that will be in person at these events. For instance, actually, no, let me not say that because it's not announced yet. But like we have a recruiter friend that's throwing an event at a tech conference coming up, and she privately hit me up being like, hey, send people my way for some roles that are not published yet. And then those are the type of individuals that we're going to have in our community sharing like, hey, we'll be at this event. This is what we're recruiting for, so that it's not just about getting a free ticket and going. It's getting a free ticket and going because XYZ organization is going to be there, XYZ investor will be there, XYZ podcaster or influencers doing on-site interviews, and now you have content you can put on your page. You can collab post with the influencer. You grow your following. You put your brand out there, your business. You get in front of recruiters and they're not just like really good at UX, UI, UX, but they're a UI, UX like thought leader on Instagram, on LinkedIn. So there's a lot of different cool opportunities. Basically, what I would look at it as follow bigstage.energy on Instagram. We're going to start doing like original content around there. And what I'd say is like me and Ty have a really crazy network. Our goal is just to throw all of our network into our community to give our members access to them and then curate those introductions at these conferences. Because it's just more efficient. Like instead of me calling 20 people, let me walk you over to 20 people over the course of a weekend in person. And then you can do the lecture slide with them, create memories. And now you're not just a resume or a LinkedIn page, you're an actual person. And people like to hang out with people that they could have a drink with or, have a good laugh with. So you get to create those moments before you even work there. That was a lot. I told myself to have like concise, real, like Instagram real statements, but I'm passionate about this. So I'm gonna try to make my statement a little 60-second sound bites. So just remind myself, you got to do.
Yeah, see, that's the content mindset right there. It's like 60 seconds.
Let me make it smaller moving forward. But yeah, that's why Big Stage Energy though. Like we're excited. Our goal is to make people a lot of money through the relationships that we get them to, the contacts that we help them make. We have an affiliate link where our members can send it out to people and make $99 for every person that signs up. Like we can be your affiliate partner and run it up with you. So yeah, there's a lot of cool things that we're going to be able to do. So I'll stop there.
I love that. So two things or one thing, not one, it's actually a couple of them. So things that I know about you both individually, right? So you both are sales leaders, right? I think you guys have kind of like in between transitions between like actively being professionals to now being entrepreneurs. And the third and most important one is like being super connectors, right? Like you guys, I remember like Ty, I posted a video, he reached out to me, we've been connected ever since, right? And you probably don't know how I knew about you first, Jared, but I think you had done a space on Twitter with Ray J. And I was on that space. That's a long time ago. You probably don't remember, but I really liked the content, the conversation, and I think it was really great. So it's really great that you guys are able to bring all of that together. But I think there's so many people out there who have those skills, right? But I like that the fact that you guys have been able to put it in a product. So something that is not just something you do for someone somewhere, but a skill that people can actually tap into. And it's a real skill that makes money. It moves the world. How does somebody recognize and own those skills to be successful?
Yeah, I mean, like I'll say, like when it comes to just networking and the art of networking, I mean, I think really it's just finding out just before you figure out like what this person can do for you, it's what can you do for them, because you never know what someone can do for you in the future. I mean, there's a lot of people that I've helped that, Jared has helped as well, where at the time there was really nothing in return for us, but everyone is always moving and going to a new stage in life. So you may never know if the person that you meet at an event that you just try to see what they need and how you can help them can turn around 3 years later, level up to where they need to be, and then help you. So I think that's really the main thing that I recommend, to do when you're at these events.
Yeah. And I would just say, like, be intentional too, like know what your purpose is for going somewhere. So you're not just going to go, you're going to achieve a certain goal. But like Ty said, go with the intention of leading with value first. So I like to ask, hey, what are you most like passionate about? What gets you the most excited in life? And, is there any way I can support you, in whatever that is? And keep it really broad so they could be like, man, I have this podcast that I'm excited about, or, I have this book club that I'm excited about, just so you can really build rapport on a real level. So they ask you like, hey, what are you really excited about? Well, I'm excited about, my, career in cybersecurity. I've been taking all these certs. I've been looking for roles. And by the way, I saw a role at your company, ironically. I'm just looking for referrals or opportunities. But so it's not about being like manipulative or like fully strategic, but really authentically ask people like what makes them excited, what's their passions, and see how you can support it. Like follow them on that podcast, recommend that book club to somebody in the area, like genuinely support them, and just let them know what you're excited about. And then it becomes like a transfer of like, okay, cool. I trust you. I like you because we had this genuine connection type thing. So yeah, that's the biggest thing with networking is just lead with value, lead with curiosity, and be authentic. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't ask people, what do you do? Ask people, what can you do for them?
I love that. I love that. I'm gonna put a pin in that because that's gonna be my next question as well. But quick shout out for Chris. What's up, everybody? What's up, Chris?
Hey, what's up,
And
Chris?
then Majid is like, well done, Juwan. I see you, Jared. Big Tech Energy. Yeah, Big Tech Energy. Let's go.
Yeah,
You talked about something that I also think is very crucial, right? Which is be genuinely or connect genuinely, right? And I think that's a big part, right? Because one, there's a lot of completing priorities. Like I have things that I need as well. I have goals that I'm trying to be, that I'm trying to achieve at this place. How can I stop thinking about that and think about other people? That's one. Two is like, if I'm really pressed for what I want, would I not be unfocused, like focusing on other people? So how can you want what you want and still focus on other people winning? And I know, for example, Ty does that a lot. For example, like sends me a lot of recommendation, connects me with people, but I know he has his own goals. So starting with you, Jared, like how does someone want to win in life while still being in spaces and rooms and thinking about other people or putting other people first as a way to actually reaching that goal?
Yeah, man. So I do recognize like, all right, there's a goal I have. I want to raise funds for the startup that I'm working with. I have people I want to connect to opportunities. So I do have goals in the back of my mind. But what really I'm focused on is how can the people in this room that can help me achieve that, how can I help them get to where they are? And that's it. I'm just really like, how can I help them get to where they're trying to go? Because they can already do it for me. I know that's a fact. This is the decision maker for the job. This is the decision maker for the investment. How can I help them get to where they're trying to go? So I understand where they need to go and see who do I know in my Rolodex that I connect them to, and see that through. And then I can ask, hey, I have this mentee. I'm trying to help land a job at your company. Send me the resume. I'll get them an interview tomorrow. So that's how I look at it. And as long as I'm genuinely focused on that value that I bring to somebody, and I'm not even worried if they give it back to me. I've had people where I've hooked up and they have been, returned the favor. It's okay because my reputation is still bigger than a transaction.
Definitely. Yeah. And I would say, for me, so a friend once told me this like very short story that, they just picture a room with like 100 balloons and everyone's name was written on a balloon. And, no one knew like what color balloon that everyone had or whichever, right? So you throw the 100 people in there and you tell them like, hey, find your balloon. But you're picking up all these balloons of all these different names. Like, all right, this is Claude, this is Jim's, this is Jill's. So if everyone just goes in and just tries to find their own balloon, it will take hours, maybe even days for everyone to do that. But once you say, hey, everyone go in there and find your balloon, but if you pick up a balloon that's not yours, pass it to someone else that it is their balloon, then people can now all find their balloons within like 10 to 15 minutes because everyone's working as a team. So using that analogy, like when we go to different events and we meet people, like, sure, I meet people all the time that really aren't very relevant to me, but if I know they're relevant to someone else, I'll be happy to pass that over because they're also meeting people that aren't relevant to them, but they're probably relevant to me and they pass those back to me. So it's this like teamwork that you're doing on a very large scale across thousands of people where we're all basically bringing the right resources to each other, and we're all getting the benefits of other people bringing the right resources to us.
Mm. I really love both answers, and I think Trey actually captured it really beautifully. He said, "Help enough other people get what they want, and you can have everything you want." I think it's beautiful, and I love that balloon analogy because I think it says it really well. So my next question is actually coming from, someone watching. Sarah says, "What if you're unsure of your value? How do you ensure you're bringing something of value?" And I really like this question because I think a lot of people just breaking in or getting into tech really struggle with that. Like, I'm brand new. I'm just even learning like the ropes of the skills or whatnot. How can I offer like a director or a VP somewhere something? What do you guys say to that?
Yeah, I could definitely relate to this because I think my very, very first tech conference that I went to, which was, Afrotech, I mean, I didn't know anyone, right? So I'm in a room and there's 20,000 people inside and outside, and I'm just sitting there like, I don't know how I could be helpful to these people. But I remember the first person I met was like, "Hey, I'm trying to get into software engineering," and it's just like, "All right, cool. Well, I'm in sales, but let's connect on LinkedIn," and then that was it. And then you meet someone else, "Hey, I'm trying to get into project management," and then you connect on LinkedIn, and that's it. Then I met a third person that was like, "Hey, I'm a software engineering manager. I'm trying to hire software engineers." It's like, "Oh, well, I met a software engineer, so maybe I could connect you together." And then eventually I met someone that's like, "Hey, I'm a manager of project managers. I'm trying to hire project managers." "Oh, I met someone earlier that's a project manager. Let me connect you together." So I still am not bringing anything of value, personally, like that is my own, but the value that I have is my eyes and ears, and I think that's the value that everyone has. And especially in sales, we come from a system where people would send us leads and referrals. So I'll tell people like, the eyes and ears, the stuff that you see, the people that you encounter, that's the most valuable thing you could bring to a table.
Yeah,
Wow, I
and,
love that.
yeah,
Go
and
ahead.
I would say just like support is like free and it's a value everybody can bring. So just ask like, how can I support what you're working on? And if they don't, if they ask you something that's out of your reach, you can connect with them on LinkedIn and like every post they have, comment, this is awesome, um, follow them on Instagram, post, man, so excited for you. Like just little things like that show up. I have, almost 25,000 followers on Instagram, but I can identify quickly like who are people that are genuinely like being supportive. So when they slide in my DMs and they're like, "Yo, man, I need a job," and there's like hundreds of those in my DMs, I will make time for that person because I'm like, you constantly support me. You're always liking my posts. You're always commenting. You're reposting my stuff. You know what I mean? Like I appreciate your energy. So it's just really like the value is your energy. Your value is, are you supportive? Are you friendly? Are you genuinely interested in somebody's success? I would just say start there. And then when it comes to the value that you bring to the world, like what excites you? Like what motivates you? Like people think, "Oh, Jared's in sales for the money." I'm in sales because I like the idea of identifying a business problem, solving it with my technology, and then this VP gets a raise to C-level executive. He or she can sleep better at night because there's not going to be a outage in their systems because our technology solves that issues. That if there was an outage, their job would be on the line. So I really just think about people, right? So that's what brings me excitement. That's why I'm good at the networking thing. So whatever that is, like just figure out what career makes the most sense of it. And I'll always circle back to this. Go back to some AI platform, whether there's ChatGPT, Gronk, Gemini, and say, this is what gets me excited in the world, in life. What parallels are there in this technology space from a career standpoint? Some kind of prompt like that, they'll give you some things and you'll be like, oh, shoot, there's learning and development. I can do my thing as a teacher. There's UI UX. I can do things as a creator. So uh, that's what I would say from like a practical standpoint, from a career perspective. That's how you can figure out your value or what you could probably be really good at.
I really love those answers. I think yours were too. Specifically, one is support, but also being genuinely interested in people winning. And your tie is more about being almost a value connector. So sometimes it's not really on you to provide a solution, but can you connect the ask, which I think is great specifically because, and I think it's all tied together, having genuine interest. So it doesn't mean that you still don't get what you want, but it's like, if I'm genuinely interested and I'm listening and I'm present and I'm active in what this person needs, I may not be able to solve it in this moment or even in the next 6 months, but somewhere down the line, I know this person needs this thing and I'm gonna send it that their way. And there's something that a leader said to me recently that I think was very powerful about different levels of connection, right? So it says, you want to connect with people who are ahead of you, who are the same level with you, and those who are coming behind you. It's like the reason being your peers are going to be able to give you like situational advice, right? Oh, this company is hiring for this specific roles or this and that. Your leaders can give you like mentorship, right? Well, when I was where you were 5 years ago, here's what I did that got me here. But also people coming behind you can give you support, right? And that's why I like that support question. And it's key, right? Because the higher you go sometimes in life, the more removed that you are from some certain situations, the more you can lose your situational awareness. And sometimes you might become so strategic that some tactical stuff just becomes so much of a hassle. You're overseeing a team of 10 people. Now you can find someone who can do some research for you or just be boots on the ground for you. And it's like, so the more you start to think about it that way, I think it kind of like makes your world fuller.
Yeah, and that's why like the conference strategy is important because it gives you the opportunity to accumulate a network of individuals that have all different kind of value and skill sets. So now you can really just become a matchmaker because you attend one conference, you get 100 LinkedIn requests. You go to the next conference and you're up to 200, 300, 400, 500. And now somebody's like, I'm trying to connect with somebody that works at Adobe. Boom, boom, boom. Let me look at my LinkedIn. Oh, I met this person last week. I can make an introduction. So that's a value in itself, is being a connector. And the easy way to make connections is, using these conferences and making in-person connections.
I love it. Ty, any reactions?
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think, even from like a simple perspective of just regionalism, so for me, I am in Las Vegas, and being in Las Vegas, it's a bubble. So, and because I never lived in a lot of these different places like Houston or Atlanta or LA, there was a lot that I just didn't really know about, like subcultures and people, and going to conferences and just being able to like understand like just the different subcultures and different lingos and different ways of life. It just makes you more rounded. I mean, like I know people talk about like traveling the world and all of that, but the USA, there's so many different cultures and ways that people live. It's such a melting pot. There's so many different people that are here. So, just being in spaces where you can actually connect with all types of folks can just help overall with just understanding people just a lot better. It just makes you a lot better communicator in your business and in life.
Yeah, someone who's lived in Texas and New York, I could tell you that cultures are very different for sure. um, so I like the skill identification framework that you shared, Jared, and I think it's beautiful, right? Because the reason why that's so key, I kind of like break it into tech into three different ways, right? That key skill identification is probably the most crucial of all three, right? Because if you get that right, it makes it easier to win on the remaining two. The next one is like this building the skill, right? So it's like I've identified that this is the area I'm going to win in. I need to go get the additional skills. So you might naturally be a salesperson or have an engineering mind, but it doesn't mean that you're getting out right, SQL queries or whatever, right? You still need to go learn how to do that. And then the next part, which is key, is like finding opportunities. Whether so that's like writing your resume, applying to jobs, building your network, and interviewing, and finally getting the opportunity. In terms of building the skills, what do you find that is most important for people to do to kind of like either like do it really well or do it in an efficient way?
Yeah, so we actually got off the phone with one of our Big Stage Energy community members. Her name's Joyce. She has an app called My Plus One that's coming out in January. So I just wanted to shout it out real quick. It's actually like you put in the things that you're passionate about, you're good at, and it gives you like ideas of where you should go in career space. And then it gives you like a GPS of how to get there. So I just thought it was really relevant to that question. But Ty, I'll let you answer it first, and then I'll circle in afterwards.
Yeah.
Shout out Joyce, by the way.
Yeah. So I would say to kind of take it into an interesting direction, I think first it's like find your tribe, because I think that people perform differently, even if they have skills, if they're comfortable and if they're in spaces that are the right spaces for them. And I know that personally, like I've lived in the inner city, lived in the suburbs, lived on the beach, lived in the middle of the Vegas Strip, but I've had jobs where I had, territories in Utah or territories in, Arizona or, Colorado. So like, and I've noticed that me as a person, I'm different, depending or in the spaces that I'm in. I think almost everybody is. And because I always challenge people, it's like, say like, hey, like I'm an introvert. But then when you see them around their family, they're very much not introvert. These people are very much outgoing and lively and loud because they're comfortable. So I think it's just find the right spaces where you're comfortable, where you could perform your best, I think first of all. And then, the next phase, right, is then find that thing that you can do well, that you like to do. But I think that part is super important, that foundational piece.
Yeah, you can quickly find out what you might be interested in by asking your tribe. Like, what do you do? What do you like about it? How'd you get in? What's your day-to-day like? How much money do you make, if you don't mind me asking? You know what I'm saying? Or like, what is the range of, that people make? But it's kind of like a focus group. You can just go person to person to person, and you'll learn about, roles you never heard of, because there's about 1,500 roles in tech, besides the main ones that we know about. And then, you can find out what companies and cultures really align with you as well. You know what I'm saying? So it's all about that research and building out a tribe that's diverse in their skills in tech, and then understanding which one it resonates with you the most. They'll give you a clear path of like, here, don't waste time doing this certification, just do this one. And then, I have XYZ person that can potentially get you a role. It just saves you so much time. So it's all about relationships that gives you access to knowledge, and it gives you access to new people that can actually get you what you want.
You know why I can relate to that so bad? Literally, I had a conversation with somebody yesterday who wants to get an MBA, and literally called me to say, okay, so how should I be thinking about this? How should I do this? What should I look at? And I made a very bad error. Not really a bad error, but I mean, it's not fatal, but I didn't really think about it in terms of what it meant. So I'm currently getting my MBA in Gainesville, Florida. Logistically, it's hellish, right? But the school meets every other criteria I had. So maybe if I thought about that one extra factor in terms of travel logistics, maybe I might have made a different choice, right? But the point was helping that person refocus their energy and attention around clearly outline your goals, right? What is important to you? Do you want to go to a Ivy League school? Like, why are you trying to do that? Do you want to go to a budget school, right? Do you need the school to be highly rated? Is there a certain concentration you're looking for? This is the framework which you should think about it. And this was my thought process. Go Gators. Yeah. This was my perspective around it. And this was what helped me out. So I think having that thought process and being able to hear from someone else, I completely agree 1,000%. And there's so, especially if you're going to go the self-taught route, right? Even if you're not self-taught, like you want to go to a boot camp, right? Is that boot camp good? Is there someone in your network who's done a boot camp who can tell you, you know what, don't pay beyond this amount, because I think this is kind of like where the value is capped at. Use this resource to research, and find what works. And I think that's just so important, having a community to lean on, very key. So I actually say it's Go Gators. I'm biased, so I'm going to post that first. And then Take Back Trades is like, what comes easy to you and hard for others? Oh, that's a good question. We gotta
Take Back to that. Take Back needs to be up here. He's got the bars. He's going crazy in the chat.
You know what? I this is actually the first ever time that we've had two guests at the same time, and now I want to do it all the time.
I know, right? Yeah, yeah, it's a great idea.
It's so much fun.
Takes the
It's
pressure
so
off
much
of me. It goes fast. It's cool. And the thing is, like, Ty's not on IG, so I want people to know who know IG Ty is. Look him up on LinkedIn. That's where he's popping. But yeah, I was like, I need no IG Ty on here just in case my IG people that follow me pop in here. They need to understand what they're getting with Big Stage Energy. It's not me. It's double the value. And what's cool with him, he does channel sales. And I don't know if he's talked about it yet on this podcast, but I think it's important for people to understand, like, you can make a huge bag in channel sales without the pressure of cold calling and the rejection and the this and that. Like, channel sales, they're flying all over the country. They're whining and dining folks. They're connectors. They're literally connecting resellers to customers and making sure their resellers are supported. Yeah, like, you are getting some real value. That's why I was like, yo, Ty, pop in here. Like, let's make sure everybody knows who you are, because I've yapped enough on YouTube. Like, let's get him yapping a little bit more behind the scenes. He doesn't even need to be online, but you know, it's important for people to understand what they're getting. So anyways, Juan, just wanted to make sure that we at least highlight channel sales, because he actually has a channel sales course coming out in 2026.
So Ty and I had an entire episode playbook
okay.
channel sales.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because it's like so many people tapped into that. Like, he's taking that evangelism all the way to Nigeria, by the way. Like, Ty's connected everywhere. Everywhere.
By the way, me and Ty, we might be launching a tech conference in Ghana, so stay tuned.
Oh, That's gonna be dope. Y'all
Definitely.
gotta remind me to that one for sure. And Sam says, wow, that's an amazing pitch for Big Stage Energy, and I'm super interested. I was checking out the website and saw startup founder resources. What type of resources are there for tech founders? Me and three brothers I met at Afrotech are coming to create a personal data center startup. Super excited to see how we can help and use Big Stage Energy. I love that.
That's technically a segue into channel sales if you're doing a data center. But to answer that question just in general, I mean, when it comes to startup founders, we post a few things in there. So one, I mean, the access to events is important, and it's not just like events for getting into technology. Like, there's startup events that we post in there. There's very like professional events. We have some really like high-end executive events that are coming that we're going to be posting in there. Events where you can meet investors, because you know almost every startup needs investment. So, but then the other things that we do for startup resources is we also post things that come to us directly, like pitch competition applications, or we also post in their grant applications, because we have a lot of personal friends that curate pitch competitions across the USA. So, you know, having access to some of those folks, as they reach out to us and they say, hey, you know, I'm doing an event and I need, you know, 3 additional startups. Do you know anybody? So being in that community, like when we get asked for help to provide resources or speakers, we go to our community first, like that they get first dibs on us, and then we seek outside. So, but yeah, beyond the startup conferences, I would say the pitch competitions, the resources, and then when it comes to data center, we have very close ties to channel sales, and channel sales is basically a collection of resellers, people that resell technology, including data center services, including telecommunications and all of that. There's a whole suite of events that we will have inside of Big Stage Energy. We actually have a few in there right now. There's like a really big one in South Florida that we have tickets in there. So yeah, if you're in that field, we have some folks that would definitely be able to help you out that are in the community.
Yeah, and then I would just say, like, I have a lot of connections and so does Ty, when it comes to like BLCK VC and that whole organization, the Black Angel Group, and that whole network. I'm actually flying to Miami tomorrow. Black Ambition is throwing $1 million pitch competition, and the publicist of that event invited me down so I can interview Felicia Hatcher, the CEO of Black Ambition, and she's partnered with Pharrell Williams. So there's going to be a ton of investors in that room. And so every room that I'm in, I'm always going to be thinking about how can they come into our community and provide early exclusive access to any sort of investment opportunities, pitch competitions, grants, resources, etc. So yeah, like we have a ton of not only just like conferences, but we have like legitimate connections. You're like, hey, I'm raising for this and etc. Like me and Ty probably have 100 different types of investors in our phone. And so that's just kind of like our energy as well. So there's gonna be a lot of opportunities for that. Accelerator Con, shout out to Sosa. We were able to get about 100 free tickets to that event. And one of my boys, Shay, he basically said, look, I posted on my stories like, yo, if you want to go to this event, here's the code. Because I want to give people a taste of like what they can get with us. He hopped in an Uber, took him 30 minutes to get there. Within 30 minutes, he met 2 investors that he had been chasing for like 3 years. You know what I'm saying? So like, and I have the screenshot. I'll probably post it one day. I'm bad about promoting the wins. I probably should do it more, but like that's the kind of stuff that we have in our community as well. Techstars, Y Combinator, Act House, like there's so many different groups that we rock with. And the fact that we work with Sosa from Accelerator Con, she works with all the accelerators. So, you know, there's so many ways that we can add value. And for the first like 50 people that join, we're at 30 right now. For the 50 at least, and maybe it'll be a thing moving forward. We're doing one-on-ones with our members as soon as they join, because our goal is to get quick wins as soon as possible so that we can publicize it and it just drives more demand. It's just like more value brings, you know, more energy towards Big Stage Energy, no pun intended. So we want to have these like one-on-one calls. So it's not like, hey, we're posting things and we hope it makes sense. We're now thinking about, okay, what does this member need? Like, for instance, we got the phone with Joyce from My Plus One. I'm like, how can I give her value? Let me shout her out on YouTube right now. 1, because it makes sense, but 2, because her goal is to get more members and I want to support in any way I can. So let me get some content of me saying that. So it's just like, I'm just giving that example as a way that we're literally not just talking about it. We do this. And the more successful our members are, the more successful the community is. So we're very incentivized to see people get jobs, get funding, get conference stage speaking engagements, get on podcasts, whatever it is, man. We're very incentivized to do it. So, you know, come through if you're trying to be around, you know, what we're doing. It's fun times.
Yeah, Sam says, wow, thank you for the information. Yeah, so much value when you're around Ty and Jared for sure. And Ashley's saying, we're going to need a New Year's heads up for the Ghana conference, please and thank you. Got to make sure I have all my 2 weeks saved up. Yeah, for sure. For sure. So definitely great. So in terms of like, if we go a bit more tactical, right? Imagine, and you said a lot, you've pitched it a lot, right? What does it cost, right? And what will I get, right? Imagine like you have a 30-second pitch or a 60-second pitch. Why should I join right now?
Yeah, I mean, so I could definitely say.
Sorry to put you on the spot.
Yeah, no worries. No, so it's $4.99 per year. So annual cost of $4.99. We have partnerships with over 100 plus conferences. We expect to drop tickets in our community of over 80 different conferences throughout the next 12 months. And the conferences come in ticket blocks. So these tickets are either going to be blocks of 100 tickets available, 200 tickets, 1,000 tickets, 20 tickets, 50 tickets. It all depends on the conference, but we drop them every Tuesday. They're first come, first serve. Just hop in there, reserve it, and then that's it. And then other things that we do is just all sorts of resources. Some are exclusive, like speaking opportunities, pitch competitions, things like that. And then we also have just a really cool community of people that you can go to events with. Because I personally don't like going to events by myself. I want to go with a squad. Both of you have been in my squad before at conferences, and I've been in your squads. So it is fun to go with people. So that's really one of the fun things I'd say.
I love it.
All right, 60 seconds or less. I would say the goal is not just to get you conferences, although we have 100 plus conferences that we're going to get you free access to. The goal is to get you the relationships that get you towards your goals. So give you early access to recruiters, hiring managers, podcasters, influencers, conference organizers that pick speakers for speaking engagements, give you early access, give you resources, but also put you in the rooms where decision makers are, so that you're not having to deal with the applicant tracking system. You're not having to slide in somebody's DMs and be left on red. You can literally meet people in person and build relationships, because the more relationships you have, the more opportunities you can have direct access to that can basically change your life. And that's what Big Stage Energy is about, is getting in the room with decision makers, helping you build relationships, helping you get those resources that prepare you for opportunities, and to have a lot of fun in the process. So it's 12 months, $499, but that's because we want to give you a 12-month experience of elevation and also a 12-month experience of relationship building within our community. We didn't want to have the in and out thing where people like come in, get some tickets and bounce. No, we want everybody to be invested in like supporting each other and meeting each other, and making some really cool things happen, and make money, as well.
Yeah, I completely love it. And another a testimonial coming in right as you guys were talking. They really do this. I got a free $1,000 ticket that came with full access, merch, and food. I had a great time at an eye-opening conference for sure.
It's
And
fast.
I mean,
It was a great time.
I think go ahead. Sorry, you were gonna say.
Yeah, no. I was just saying, yeah, that's 100% facts. Yeah, we had a blast, and we had a squad too. So going to these events with like 5, 6, 7, 8 people is so much fun. For the people that have never gone to an event with a squad, like highly recommend it. Way better than going by yourself.
Yeah, and I mean, also I'll throw this in there, like, I never pay for food, never pay for drinks. It's just like unlimited good time. So not only getting the free ticket, but you're getting access to all the good stuff. And then when it comes to all the satellite events, like me and Ty have all the lists, the spreadsheets. So like it's a good time. And then if you're a man looking for your wife, this is some good prospects. And I can't speak for women because I'm not a woman. I heard sometimes be cool, but I'm not going to talk about that. But for the men, if you're looking for a wife that has like a good, like intelligent head on her shoulder, man, these conferences is where it's at. But come correct, man. Don't come to do anything crazy. Like come correct. Be like Ty. Ty's the be good.
Ty's the guy.
My current girlfriend I met at a conference, so that is facts. And yeah, it's an amazing person. So
don't go to tech conferences just to pick up women per se, but go to network authentically. But like, yeah, it's something else.
It's interesting. So Sam is asking. So Ty's LinkedIn is Ty Smith. That's Ty and then Smith. It's good. You probably have to go to a couple of them, but you'll find him. It's unmissable. So I know we're coming up on time, but I still have like a couple more, let's say maybe quick fire questions, right? Let's say there was only one skill that it takes to succeed in tech. What would that be? And you guys have to give 2 different answers.
Yeah, so you said one skill to succeed in tech. I would say the main skill would be finding where you're comfortable and what you like to do. So what environment, like culture, type of team, type of boss, all of that. And then finding what you like to do and being able to know that you're not in the right spot, that you need to keep moving until you find that spot. Because some people think that they're not performing well, but in reality, they're just in the wrong spot.
Got it.
I'll keep it simple, man. Listening, in my opinion, like being open and receptive, or I would say this actually, besides listening, I would say like be genuinely curious and constantly focused on how can I improve my skills towards whatever I'm passionate about. But like genuine curiosity is important, because I'll say like the people that are genuinely curious, interested, and passionate about their contributions to a tech organization or the customers that they serve with their startup will show up more authentically and show up with more execution. People that are there just to get a check, fumble their mouse so people think they're working, like do the bare minimum, like you are going to be cut off and cut out really quickly. Either your company is going to see you as the fat that they need to cut, or your customers are going to really like feel the experience that you don't really care. You're just trying to grab money. So really be genuinely interested in excellence. That separates those that get laid off or can't find a job versus those that get promotions or are quickly hired whenever they want to make a move.
I love it. So I know you guys have had like very long, successful careers so far. What's like the wildest thing you've done to like get an interview or get an opportunity?
I mean, I can give a true story, and I mean, I know it has to do with conferences, but this is actually like really. So, backstory for me: before this whole tech world, I was a referee at like this is like out of high school, right? So I was a referee, and then I was also working at Radio Shack on the side. But I had a passion for music, and I wanted to get into like a real like corporate job where I can be in an office. And there was a startup that was in a very, very small town of mine in Chelmsford, Massachusetts. And I went to a conference where the CEO was and saw him speak and all of that. It was a small kind of workshop room. And after he spoke, I literally like walked right up, like I like bolted up there and was like, hey, it's New York City, but I actually live in the same town as you. I'm in the small town of Chelmsford, and I love music, and I have an idea that you should make mixtapes for your startup because you have a music platform. It'll be cool to showcase everyone's music, and maybe we could get it played on the radio, and I'd love to design those mixtapes for you. And he was just like, that's a crazy idea, but like I think it might work. And did you say you live in the same tiny town that like our office is? Like, yeah, I live there. Like, yeah, I could be there tomorrow. He was like, okay, well, show up tomorrow and we'll talk. And literally like, yeah, got the job in like 2 days. So
Wow,
yeah.
that's wild.
Yeah, I mean, I actually never applied for a role after IBM. Like I never had to apply for a role after IBM. In sales, they have these thing called headhunters, and they're sourcing 3 to 4 roles. So like I used to get just blown up because of my LinkedIn. So I never had to apply for a role before. But the thing I did at IBM that people say like, dang, that's different. My mentor, basically, I was an undergrad. I asked, they flew me out to a diversity hiring summit. I wanted to move to New York really badly because I was a huge Apprentice fan. So I said, who's hiring in New York? And they're like, they're hiring in New York, but they're only hiring MBA hires with 3 to 5 years work experience. And I just said, look, New York is where I want to be. I would love to just get the opportunity to meet the hiring manager. I know I don't have, the ability to get the role, but I would love for them to know who I am. And they were like, well, you know what? We like your energy. We like your story. Yeah, we'll fly you out to New York. But obviously you can't get the job. But yeah, we'd love for him to meet you just so he can keep you in mind. So I asked my mentor, I was like, yo, so they say I can't get the job. What should I do? He's like, well, ask him for the job at the end of the interview. Nobody else is going to do it. It's going to make you stand out. And the worst he'll say is no, right? So I came in, really researched, had a great interview, and he loved my story, all the things. And at the end, I said, I understand I don't have 3 to 5 years work experience. I don't have an MBA. And I also understand that there's other people sitting in the lobby waiting to meet with you to interview for this role. But I will work harder than anybody else that you'll hire. I'm more passionate about this solution than anybody else you'll talk to. So for that reason, can I have the position? And what we did in my sales internships that I learned so much during those internships, is like when you ask for the close, the first person that talks loses. So I said, can I have the position? And I just stared him deep in his eyes, didn't say anything. It was quiet for like 30 seconds. He was just looking at me like, well, that I have somebody literally 15 feet, like right outside the door interviewing for this next role. So I obviously can't give you the job, but the fact that you asked me for the role gives me the confidence that if we had the CTO of, Panasonic or the CTO of Walmart, you would ask him for that role without even flinching. Because I was like 23 years old at the time. And, my recruiting coordinator called me up and he was like, dude, I don't know how you did it, but apparently you asked for the job. He's never seen that before, and he just couldn't pass up on you. So despite everything else, you got the role. And I moved out to New York City at 23, had a base salary of 70,000, which, sounded big, but then I'm in New York City. So it's like, damn. But, corporate car.
That was still a lot of money back then.
Yeah. And yeah, I was President's Club and I outworked everybody. I treated that job like I was selling books, but I had IBM, the biggest brand, in the world. And yeah, like that's the craziest thing. So shout out to my mentor and shout out to just like work still says no. That's my mentality. So that's why I get a lot of the things that I get. It's because like just ask for what you want, where still say is no. But how I get more yeses than nos is by proactively adding value before I make the ask.
Oh, I love both of those. But the fact, I mean, just the audacity and like the fact that you kept going without giving up. Because even like I think the craziest one wasn't that you asked for the job. Actually, in my mind, it was the fact that you're like, get me out there anyway. Like they're not gonna give it to me, but get me out there. And it's like just getting that next yes and got you to the final one.
Yeah, man. They flew me first class. I was feeling good going into it. I was like, no matter what, I won. And then they got a black car for me. And the craziest thing is I'm a huge fan of The Apprentice at the time. And that's what motivated me to move to New York. The black car pulls up and it's these golden doors. It's the Trump Tower. It's where the Apprentice contestants leave when they get fired. I was like, bruh, this is destined. I have to get this job. So I came in hot, and yeah, that was one of my favorite interviews because I was ready. I was prepared.
I love that. So I know we're kind of like our time. Any last piece of advice for someone watching, just about their career, about big stage energy, just anything?
So I would say, so Juan, and you've seen me at all these different events, tons of events over the years and all of that, and doing a lot of like traveling and everything. And I would say that like, I think that, being intentional and going to the right spaces and making sure that you're in the right rooms, I think is like very, very important. And I think with the thing that I want people to realize is like, Jared and I, like we work with tons of conferences, right? But we curated like a really cool community of conferences that like we know like are great, for people, like ones that we've gone to. Like we're not just working with a bunch of conferences and dropping a bunch of tickets we've never been to. Like we've gone to almost all of them. We've been to them, and we understand like what are the right ones of value. So I would say like, for the people that are trying to like go out there and do this themselves and, go and take all the flights and go to all the events and all that, we've made it a lot easier for people to basically just figure out, what are the right ones to go to. So if anything, if there's a shortcut to success and people have like walked that path, I think it's important just to like basically leverage the path that people have laid out versus like trying to just walk that new path again. Like I've taken hundreds and hundreds of flights, and I don't like recommend people taking hundreds and hundreds of flights when you could go to like 4, 5, 6 events that are super impactful for you. And that's really what we're trying to do, is like trying to get people in the right spaces, in the right rooms. But we've sacrificed a lot for the past like 4 to 5 years to build out this community, because we really want to make sure that like we're allowing people to be in the right spaces so they can just get in there and it's like, okay, this was great, without having to just do all the trial and error themselves. So I think that's the main picture that I want to paint.
Yeah. The last thing I'll leave with is like my favorite phrase: I don't have problems, I have friends. And I want everybody to be in that position where they don't have any problems with this job market or fundraising or getting their brand exposed. They have friends. And I want to create a community with Ty where we can curate that type of environment for you. Another thing that I've always believed in is you can either save money by spending more time to do something, or you can spend money to save time. And I would look at a $4.99 investment with Big Sage Energy as you're spending money to save time, like by being in the right places, by being introduced to the people before you go to the place, and then through our connections, like you could spend a bunch of time trying to get in touch with Juwan to be a guest, or you can basically get introduced by us and you're already on his radar. He doesn't really have as many questions for you as he probably would have as a complete stranger. And he knows we'll support you in terms of making sure that you come on prepared and you can deliver. Like, that's just one example. There's so many examples within our network, but like the right introductions will save you years of your life trying to get to a certain place. And I would say for $4.99, you're getting Afrotech tickets. You're getting tickets to conferences that cost $4,000, $2,500. And I would say, the price isn't going to stay at $4.99. The people that come in are going to get that. But as we get to a place, we're going to cap it at, I think $2,000 is where we're going to cap it. So until then, anyways, I won't get too much in that strategy, but I'll just say jump in while it's small, because you'll have easier access to tickets, easier access to me and Ty. And we want your feedback on how we can help you, and we want to get you in so that we can start promoting it. Lastly, watch out for their podcast, Big Stage Energy. We'll be interviewing conference organizers. It's going to be really dope. And yeah, let's connect on Instagram, Dr. J, DOCTAJ. Let's connect on LinkedIn, Jared Albritton. And definitely check out my other podcast, Big Tech Energy, on all channels, and bigstage.energy. That's where you can sign up. If you want to see the conferences, go to securethebadge.com. And if you want a little bit more context of what we do, there's bigstageaccess.com. All of those links are in my bio. And check out my broadcast channel on Instagram. I throw a lot of stuff in there as well. But yeah, that's it. I'll leave it there.
I love it. I love it. And right before we go, just a few shout outs. So Sam was saying, if y'all meet any recent college grad ladies, let me know. You got to go to the conferences, Sam.
Conferences. That's way too young for me, man. I ain't that young, man. So I ain't. That's it. Mentorship for sure.
Both of your guys' story are so inspiring. Thanks for inspiring a young man with huge, crazy dreams. Shout out to you, Sam. And then last question for you, Ty. Are the conferences sales focused or tech in general?
Yeah, so we have, it's really professional. It's not even like just tech. So there's a lot of tech in there. There is some sales in there as well. But we just have professional events of all different types. And it's not just, geared to like cultural events either. We have some just very much just all run of the mill, just professional style events. So eventually you're going to see some gaming events in there. You're going to see some crypto events in there. You're going to see, some wellness events in there. Like there's going to be all sorts of things in there. Right now we have a lot of tech connections because of our background. So there's a ton of tech events of all different types, but over time you're going to see a wide range of events, and we're about to go international too. So more to come on that when that happens.
Yeah, I love that. And I think also ultimately, at least this is what I'm hearing, is based on your community's demands and what serves them, the event will kind of like go in that direction.
That's exactly how we do it. And that's why for the first 50 that are coming in, we're doing one-on-ones with people to find out like, hey, what events do you want to go on? Do you want to go to? Because we consult for conferences. So, we get our tickets by working with these conference founders. So we will strategically work with certain conferences that benefit our members.
I like InvestFest, all the things, man. South by Southwest, CES. We're going after the big boys too. I'm putting it out there, man. We're going to get tickets to Afro Nation. We're going to make it happen. So
let's go. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm manifesting it. But anyways, yeah, it's gonna be dope. So yeah, and if you're looking to get on stages, you're looking to get on podcasts, like we are the plug when it comes to that because uh, you know, let me not say that. I don't want to expose too much of our but we're bringing a lot of value to these conferences, so we have a lot of influence over who speaks. And we're making sure the people that speak are the ones that can help them get sponsors. So I'll just leave it at that.
You guys are getting a lot of exclusives already. You got to go back and watch it. But that's been the podcast for tonight. I really appreciate you, Ty and Jared, for coming on and blessing us, and for also the amazing work that you guys do being super connectors. I've benefited from it. I think each of you have probably seen you at 4 different tech conferences separately, right? It's more than that for me and Ty, probably closer to 7. Always a great time seeing you guys and seeing you guys operate and work, and also for the great tech advice, especially from your sales background. And I think essentially when I think about it, sales skills are like people skills, and people skills are like going to be the most important skills to have in this world of AI and technology. Like those are not going anywhere. So we appreciate you sharing and for the work that you guys are doing. Be a good person for sure. That would never go out of style.
That's the biggest skill ever, man. Just be a good person. Be honest. Do what you say what you what I mean? Like follow through. I'd say that's the biggest thing that I would leave everybody with. Don't say anything that you can't follow through on. If you do that, under promise and over
deliver,
you are going to be successful in everything you do. And that's it.
And the thing that I'll live with is, like, I think Sarah asked a question that I like, that I want to go back to, which is, even if you have, people will say, what if you have nothing to offer, right? Understand that you guys are doing a big undertaking. Like, if you tack yourself to this dream and to this vision and figure ways that you can help out, whether it's like helping to drive the community or being a strong voice in the community or whatever that is, that's something that could get you very far. So again, I know we've dropped a few unconventional tips, so I feel I'll drop one of mine, and that could be it, right? If you feel led, if you feel inspired, you can get involved and see how you might also be able to join this mission at this really early stage. I think there could be a lot of value there. And see, we already made a sale. I'm buying right after the call. Y'all sold me. Let's go. But that's been the podcast for tonight. Definitely really excited about this one. I really appreciate you both for coming on. We got another one next Thursday. I've actually been gone for like three to 4 episodes, but really excited to be back and really excited to be chatting with both Ty and Jared. Go check it out, Big State Energy. This is the Working in Tech podcast. We'll see you guys next Thursday.